Welcome, guys. I just wanted to share my electoral map tonight as of November 3rd. How I see the election going on November 8th. And well, actually, there are many ways in which Donald Trump could win the election. So let's take a look at the possibilities here. Let's start. I've conceded 240 delegates to Hillary Clinton. I don't believe most of these states will flip. We're going to talk about this briefly at one point, in the exception of 4 states, but I think they're going to go mostly Democrats. Apart from this, I'm going to concede 158 to Donald Trump. All of these here that you can see are not going to be Democrat on November 8th. You can forget about that. So let's focus on the gray zones. So let's start with some easier states that we can deal with. Let's start with Georgia. So in Georgia, as you can see, even though the press is trying to get the voters to think that it's a close race, it's pretty much a blowout. I mean, Trump's just been on a surge. There's a big trend. He's up 6 points collectively. So I think it's fair to give it to him. And another one, easy one, Ohio. Ohio, look at this. Even the Trump tape backlash on October 7th, he faced them a little bit, but he was still able to rise before the FBI announcements and all the other bombshells on Clinton that made her drop even lower since then, which is pretty much giving Ohio to the Republicans for this year, in my opinion. You can for sure disagree and explain yourselves in the comments and post your videos too of the electoral map and how you see it turning out. That'd be very interesting. So another easy one, state of Iowa. Iowa, I don't think is going to go Democrat. Look, there's been a big gap for a long time. And, minimal consequences, backlash from, the tax reports and the Trump tapes. And, still rising in the States. So I think it's fair to give it to him too. Okay, so let's move on to some more elaborate cases a little bit. Well, first of all, you could argue that Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maine in some parts, Michigan, they're gonna have a heavy Republican voter turnout, but I still think they're gonna stay blue. It would be too big of an upset. I don't think it's gonna happen. So moving on, we've got Nevada. Nevada, hell, Nevada's one for the Republicans right now. It's clear. It's one right now. Take a look at the polls. The polls. Donald Trump is a big phenomenon, and it's not well represented in the polls sometimes, especially with the lack of first-time voters and the oversampling of Democrats. So you can see that he's surging. Look at this. Hillary's crashing, and Trump, it was a low there, 41%, and he's just killing it right now, 47 since just around his performance in Vegas. So it's fair to give Nevada to the Republicans. Let's move on to Arizona. Arizona is going to be Republican this year too. Whatever you think about maybe Mexican Americans and illegal immigrants maybe voting, it's going for the Republicans. Big trend once again. Hillary's crashing right now. Her stock is way down. She's hard to sell, whereas Trump is staying on message, and it's crazy. He's touring the U.S. like a rock star these days. So, and the crowds are huge. We can't look away the crowds. The crowds are huge. So, he's got Arizona. Take a look at this. He's got Arizona. It's getting tighter. 240, 215. And I'm not gonna give them all to the Republicans. Okay, don't worry. I don't see it going that way. I'm just stating the states that are fairly easy that are gonna be won, even though the mainstream media say are up for battle. And Utah. Yeah, Utah, a good one, eh? I mean, Utah with McMullen and they said Clinton would surge because of that, and it's I don't see it happening at all. I mean, look at this. They're old polls. True, they're old polls, but I mean, Trump is up, and I mean he's up big time, and you can see at HuffPost since they've kept it more up to date a little bit. 36%, 26%, 21%. Now that's realistic. That's the real thing that's going on in Utah right now. So you can give those 6 delegates to the Republicans. Oh, moving on to Colorado. Colorado is a very, very interesting case, and I'm gonna spoil it for you a little bit here. I'm gonna give it to the Democrats, but it's gonna be a really, really tight race. So let's take a look at the polls. And I mean, it's not only the polls, but you can see the turnout and the number of events that the politicians do in the states. And look at Colorado. I mean, tied at one point, September. Start of October was rough on Trump with the Trump tape and the tax dodging issue. So, she's leading by a little bit, but hey, look at her. She's crashing. She is crashing. And this is even, look, she started to fall. Wow, look at this. This is the email impact, the FBI impact. And it's legit. I mean, you're under FBI investigation. That's serious. Okay, so Colorado, well, I'll still give it to the Democrats. Yeah, because I'm fair, I'm balanced. That's just the way that it's going on. That's things going on right now in the states. I mean, it is what it is. Let's move on to New Hampshire, up north. Man. So in New Hampshire, I mean, it's Republican. The tide flipped. I mean, look at this. There used to be a huge gap, but the live free or die state figured some things out, and look at them rise here. Boop, and this one is close. And the last few polls, Trump ahead, tie. Remains to be seen, but I mean, there are a lot of yard signs in New Hampshire in the live free or die state. It's crazy. So, look, I think it's gonna go. I think it's gonna go Republican. Yeah, it's gonna go Republican. It will. It will. North Carolina. Hey, it's getting close right now. 249, 225. But some here, traditionally Democrat state, toss-up state, and basically a state that was Democrat for the last 2 elections. So it's not going to be easy for Trump to make up ground here. But here, how he's going to do it. First off, he's going to win North Carolina. I mean, he's just surging in the polls. Look at this. And I mean, he's really speaking to the African American voters. Everything from 80 to the inner cities to crime and to opportunity and the New Deal. He's all over the place. Look at this in North Carolina, tanking since the FBI investigation. And Trump is just straight up hot fire. He's rising. He's hot fire in North Carolina. It shows in some polls, you know. Remington Research had a good one, I guess we can say. This one might be a little optimistic, but it's gonna go Trump. In my opinion, leaves us with PA and Florida. Well, we're gonna start with Pennsylvania because Florida would give it pretty much to Hillary. So I guess I just gave it away right here and there. But Pennsylvania, in my opinion, well, I think it's gonna go Democrat. The polls have I mean, they've tightened up. It's crazy. Look at this, Trump surging, and I mean, you can't make me believe that Hillary's surging since her last FBI mishandling of classified information revelations. I think it's more close than that. But they don't want to give Pennsylvania away and they want to keep voter interest, and I totally understand this. And look, some very serious research by Gravis, on the on the 31st, right after the FBI bombshell, Clinton too. So it's gonna be a very, very tight one. But I'm still gonna give it to the Democrats. So it all goes down in Florida. Yeah, you knew it. I mean, it's the way it goes. That's the way she goes. So, and I mean, in Florida, it's Donald Trump. Yes, I'm a bit partisan. I made a joke. I'm fair and all, but it's his second home, and I mean, he's the king in Florida. I mean, Trump. Wow, he's got Florida. I mean, his rallies. I mean, Tampa. Tampa was awesome, and he had some huge ones, some many crazy ones too. And you can see the polls. Look at this. Hillary is not surging since her FBI indictment. Well, not indictment, I'm sorry. That's what I hope for. Well, that's what the American people that stand for justice hope for. We can see a big rise by Trump. Look at this Florida. Oh, big rise. He's got Florida. I mean, but it's gonna go down to the wire, folks. I mean, I don't. That's just my personal opinion. Look what it would give us. Oh my God. A 269 tie. Yep. So the election could be played in the very state of Maine, where for the second district, they have a Republican that's the incumbent there. So it's fair guess to say that he might win his district, which would give Trump the edge. But the same could be said for districts in Nebraska, held by an incumbent Democrat. So it's all gonna go down on election day. We can only hope that our party wins, and yeah, let's see the developments in